afternoon and welcome once again to Youth Agenda. I am Rosanna Crawford, your host on the mic, and I have here with me Mr. Kelvin.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Today?
Fine.
Are you telling me thank you? Because I remember the last time I told you these glasses, is it going to let you see what's happening there?
I'm seeing actually.
So what's happening right
A lot of things are happening.
That's right. And on my left I have Mr. Daniels. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully this time you're not in the Lions then. You're here on Youth Agenda. So quickly, let's talk about, a lot has been happening online, like you said, and in the country. So controversies sparked, with a lot of problem that the MD of Dangote Group is facing right now. I think he granted a press conference and something was being picked from there. The chief executive officer of the downstream and midstream petroleum, in Nigeria, Mr. Farouk Ahmad.
Yes.
No wrong. So there's this controversy that's packed about him, spending $5 million. I was going to say naira and I quickly remembered it was dollars. Man, that money converted to naira is 7.5 billion naira on 4 kids.
4 of his children.
Yeah. That are not in tertiary but secondary school.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Daniel, is that not a lot, Mr. Kelvin? My head is, I'm trying to wrap that around. This is only secondary school, not secondary school.
Not so sure.
What is going on? All of that money, Mr. Kelvin?
Actually, I think this has been a case, it has always been happening in the public sector, where these politicians and public office holders who send their children abroad to school and they spend exorbitant amount of money training these children. Yes, so if not for the fact that Alhaji Aliko Dangote called out this Mr. Farouk Ahmed during the press conference last week, we wouldn't have known. It doesn't mean that it usually doesn't happen. It usually happens. Yeah, it's a normal thing. Even though it's telling on the fate of our country, especially in the educational sector, as it is in this case right now, where this one person was able to take this huge amount of money to train 4 of his children in school. And from what Peter Obi said, he was trying to see how he can compare how that amount can be used to even solve a very important problem we have in our educational sector. Starting from how our basic education is really on the low, right? And we have a lot of out-of-school children, people that cannot even afford to go to school. And we now have one man spending such amounts of money training 4 of his children. That is terrible, actually, and it usually happens. It's just that this one that is out now, we can all see is because Aliko Dangote had the guts to call him out, for investigations.
All right, that's nice, and somehow it has sparked something. There's a mistrust. There has never been trust when it has to do with public offices, public officers, and I know it's your private life. Somehow, you're spending all of that on your kids. Yes, that's fine. But on the contrary, there's this whole issue of public transparency and private expectation when it comes to your family. So do you think that these ethical boundaries between personal family decisions and public expectation when it comes to government, do you think that there should be scrutiny when it comes to their private life and spendings?
Yeah, I think they should be scrutinized because they are working in the public sector, and not just any kind of public sector, but under the government of a nation like Nigeria, with so many persons looking up to them. So I think they should be transparent in how they manage funds and how they use money, because sometimes when things like this happen, you begin to ask questions. Like, what's their vision about Nigeria? Do they just come preach a better Nigeria to us and then go back and do otherwise? Because I don't know why you spend such an amount of money on kids for secondary school abroad, because the whole system is now looking like a Ponzi scheme to us. Because you preach how Nigeria could be great, but it's now looking like even you don't believe in what you see.
Or when it comes to your turn, you're just doing the same thing others do. Yeah.
And then you send them abroad. And then with such amount of money, I'm wondering what they're going to study, because what do you really want them to learn that you couldn't find in the country, and then you saw in that school where they're going to? that you pay such an amount of money for them to go and learn there. And then the question there is of what impact are they going to be? Are they going to even come back to serve our country? Because is this an investment?
Yes, NYSC will definitely bring them back. I trust NYSC to bring them back.
Is this an investment or something else? Yeah, lavishment. Because looking at it for since we started hearing these politicians and their kids studying abroad, I don't think we've seen where they came back to serve Nigeria in their capacity according to what they studied, or came back to develop the country because of what they saw out there. It's more like they just studied, acquired a degree, and then just come back and sit in their parents' house because their parents are already rich, they have the money.
And of course, get jobs that they did not apply for. Now, talk about these public officers having numerous of their kids study abroad. What do you have to say on this? Why exactly do they have to make their kids study abroad? Is it that the educational system in Nigeria is not working, or they do not trust the teachers, or they don't trust their country to be able to train their kids?
Well, I think it's just a norm. It started from when we had independence. Most of our leaders then were trained abroad. Most of our military leaders too were trained abroad. Yes, I think that was permissible then because Nigeria was just coming into existence then. Yes, but right now that we have evolved, we have spent more than 60 years as an independent nation. Over this last 50 something years, Nigerian government will be able to come up and put better our educational system, a better structure in place, right? And this ranges from our curriculum. Yes, the number of years we study. I think we do the 6334 system, educational system in this country. Yes, it's actually very long. Then the curriculum that we have, in our educational sector, the curriculum is outdated. Yeah, if you go to some departments in our universities and polytechnics, you see that what they are teaching there is actually something that is past like more than 20 years ago, and there are some courses that are not really relevant anymore. Yeah, that they should scrape out. Yes, but I don't think that should be the reason why our politicians should be taking their children abroad. I think that is just share for me. I don't know for them do, or for any other person or any other person that is benefiting. But for me, I think that is just share wickedness and selfishness. Because for you to be occupying the public office, you do not see yourself as part of the public. For you to be able to for you to now go out and be taking your children abroad to go and study, leaving back those that voted for you or that entrusted their own lives. Because we're voting for these politicians or putting them in public offices, we are entrusting our lives to them. So now you got this office, occupy this office, either by appointment or by election. You now send your own children abroad to school, leaving back the masses' children, which is not really healthy, which is even a risk to the politicians. Because tomorrow, when your own kids are done, they won't be able to come back here to live in this country. Yes, right? Yeah, so it's actually a very big risk. And I feel the politicians should wake up. The politicians should wake up. The public office holders should wake up. They should try and, be morally inclined, or how will I put it, they should allow their conscience to speak for them, right? They should allow their conscience to judge them or to direct them towards the right path they should follow by equipping our schools, by putting in effort to change our curriculum so that their own children too can join us here to school rather than taking them abroad. After all, Nigeria is a blessed country. It's just that we are underutilized. Our teachers are not encouraged to teach anymore because of their meager salary, that meager take-home pay that they are collecting. So all these things borders down to the policies and the government themselves, the government officials. They themselves are the ones that will be able to wake up our educational system and try to be a good example by training their own children in the school year in our country. So imagine the president of Nigeria now training his children, or the governor of his state training his children in a school in this country, and we have other politicians emulating this. You see that give or take within the next 5 to 10 years, Nigeria will be a better country.
Now talk about schools, patterns of study and all of that. Now let's come down to what Peter Obi addressed earlier on his X handle. He suggested that 7.5 billion, if it were invested locally, 25 school blocks could be built. Not just one, not two, 25. That's like half of 50. So much. Now, educating roughly 6,000 children annually and employing about 450 teachers on a self-sustaining model. Which brings me to this question. Does this kind of hypothetical relocation or reallocation actually, is it going to address the core issue or systematic, problems in education in Nigeria?
Yeah, it will, because looking at it, we have about 18 million students and children out of school.
Out of school, yes.
Yeah. So this would actually, in a way, even though it won't amount to the 18 million people that are out of school, but in a way it will help. It's also a means of helping reduce the rate of lack of education in the country. So when you hear things like this, you see someone that has a vision and a proper plan for our nation, and who wants better for the nation. Because sometimes you wonder if these people doing this are actually thinking before carrying it out. And what I would even say is, even if, let's say, what you're looking for in Nigeria is not that money could actually set up that same standard school that you're looking for outside in Nigeria. $5 million is not 5 million naira. That's a whole lot.
That's a whooping.
I think that can actually build a university.
Yes.
Yeah, it can build a university. So I don't think whatever you're looking for out there can actually be developed here in Nigeria. Even if you don't want to maybe fund 6,000 children in school, but at least you can raise the standard of education in Nigeria with such development in our country.
Yeah.
So what strategies can be taken, to reduce these out of school children drastically, like reduce them totally?
I think the government should actually involve education as a concern in the budget, while approving the budget.
But the thing is, they do a lot of budgeting when it comes to education. A lot of budget goes. So why can we not cop these problems? Or is it that they are not really tracking the monies or the allocations given to these ministries of education and all of that?
I think they're not really tracking, because sometimes if you go around some tertiary institutions, you see that the monies they are given sometimes are using it to build infrastructures in the schools, and sometimes you see a lot of uncompleted projects in school. You see somebody comes to school, starts this project, and then leaves it. The other person comes and then starts another one, leaves it like that. It means management of funds, and I don't think they are being held to give account of what they use it for, because if you're going to be accountable, you watch how you spend and what you do with the finances.
So now let's talk about youth perspective, Mr. Kelvin. How does this debate resonate with young Nigerians dealing with unemployment and limited access to quality education?
Yeah, it goes a long way in dealing with youth in a negative way. Yeah, because negative way. Yeah. Number one, the youth are being affected with unemployment. Yes. Imagine, let's follow Peter Obi's analysis of having 450 teachers being employed, right? So now, when you have 450 teachers being employed, you're not just employing 450 teachers, you're also uplifting the families that are related to these 450 teachers. So one way or the other, youth will be affected positively if these funds were to be put into the educational system of this country. That is one. The other area is that youth in this country, most youth, or let me just say a huge amount of youth in this country are not really educated, to a premium level compared to how all these elites, their own children are being educated. Yes. So this also it also affects youth. Basically, all this whole thing, the educational system is the mismanagement of the educational sector and everything. It affects the youth very well in a negative way.
So I'd like to hear from both of you quickly before we wrap up, because this is a vital conversation. I'd love to have at least two, and I'd love to have at least two from you. So what role should youth voices, because we are youth, what role should we play in shaping public policy on education and public sector transparency? I'll start with you, Mr. Daniel.
Okay, first of all, I think the youth needs to show interest in government policies and then the public sector, because a lot of youth have actually neglected this area of living. That's why we keep having these things happen over and over again. So youth needs to stand up and show interest in these sectors and even get involved in making these policies.
So I think the youth should, like Dan said, the youth should stand up, and be aware of the policies that are being passed in the National Assembly. Yes, and also they should also voice out their concerns. Yeah, it's not just being aware or going on social media to bully or to fight people, but to come out and protest and voice out their concerns, peacefully about the misalignment we have in our policies that are affecting us, basically.
All right, thank you very much for joining us today. And quickly, before we wrap up, I would love to ask a question to the audience. And this question has been on my mind, and I just want to put it out there. This scrutiny that has to do with Mr. Ahmed Farouk, is it motivated by accountability or political posturing? Join us next time on Youth Agenda. I am Hosanna Okorafo. Bye for now.